Welcome back to another episode of Every Degree Matters. I'm your host Saffran Minhar. We have crazy news coming up from the IMF. IMF has said that global economic growth could go down from 3.5 to 3.1 this year, and if the war continues, it could go down to 2.5, which could lead into the a global recession. And we also saw that IMF is going to has approved $150 billion of aid for developing countries to assist in a lot of things that is happening that has been impacted in the last 3 months, 2 months of this war. We also saw President Trump's approval rating plummeting to 41%, from 3 to 6 points from March 2026 last month, where his approval rating has gone down. We're going to talk about that. We also saw that Virginia has got approval. They had a vote, and the Democrats approved to redistrict the Virginia congressional seats. So now they will have 3 to 4 extra seats. So what that it is, how is that going to change with the power in the House? Let's talk about it and dive into it.
And you wanna write it down? Would it kill you just to listen? And you wanna sell it out with the words out of your position. Hold on. And you wanna see the break of dawn. Brush your hair back from your face. You won't see me when
Thank you so much for joining Every Degree Matters. I am your host Saffran Minhar. Today, let's talk about the what I was just saying is that the voters in Virginia has approved a new congressional map which will redistrict, which will give the Democrats around 3 to 4 extra seats in the House, where this part is also the war that they've been trying to do in between the war map between the Republicans and the Democrats to get more House seat. And the impact would be that Democrats will gain more seats, and advantage could also weaken President Trump's legislative power. Already we saw the poly market is at 57 or 62% that the Democrats are more likely to sweep the House and the Senate. So to impeach and acquit someone in the process, they need 67 votes. So basically, they have 62 votes now because the Senate is 100. So if it is 62% right now, so it would be crazy to look at it. And this has happened in California, and even now Trump is losing. And they also did the same thing in Texas a couple of months ago, and they got approved. So it kind of, both the parties are trying to gain more seat. We'll see what happens, but it's also a sign for Republicans that they better get their shit together. If not, it will be a big impact for them it's already going to be a big impact in the coming elections, but it will also cost them the Senate. If it costs them the Senate, then they won't be able to have any legislation passed in the next 2 years. It will all be indictment, prosecuting people. It's going to be full of mayhem where things will not move in this country and everything will get stuck. It always happens this the last 2 years of any presidency after an 8-year term, because Trump served 4 years before and now he's serving another 4 years. So this is basically an 8-year term coming to an end with in terms of Trump. So which is crazy to look at it, and we are in a situation now. He's going to be a lame duck president, but that's not the point here. It's also going to be a more indictment after indictment, and nothing is going to move in this country. And what are you talking about now? Recently I saw a poll saying that, a report saying that the DHS could run out of money for the TSA workers during the summer vacation. Are we living in a third world country? It's just so annoying to see that people can't fund the people that who really need to run this country, especially the TSA workers and essential government employees that run this system. And whereas all these politicians are going crazy, and I don't know. This is what I always say, people. In 2028, I want to see a president who is younger, under 40. That's it. I don't want anyone to be above 40. No offense, but I don't want anyone to be under 40. And then in upcoming election in November, please go and elect a candidate who is younger and who is going to live through the consequences that they do have they make in their legislative power. So maybe 40 years, under 40 years to Congress and or Senate, kick everyone out who is older than that. Done. That's it. These people don't deserve to be there, and it's so annoying that they make decisions and legislative drafts and laws that will not impact them because they will be there for, I don't know. Right now, the average age in Senate and Congress is like 55. So they might live another 30 years and then that's gone, and they already have achieved a lot of things in their life. So the young people are going to suffer a lot, and I feel this has to come to an end, and this has to be ended in this way. Hope you all go and vote out people who are old. I don't care which party it is. Vote out people who are old and who doesn't have any common sense that they're doing, and who has been serving for more than 4 years. If anyone is the Senate right now who's going to serve for more than 4 years, do not elect them back, because then they have done nothing, zero, and they don't deserve to be in the Senate or in the congressional seat. That's my take. And this is also leading to a congressional power struggle over the war. They also had the U.S. House rejected a bill to limit President Trump's power by one vote. It was 214 and 213. So 214 and 213. So where President Trump won by one vote, and this means President keeps full authority over military actions, and increasing risk of increasing risk of a longer war without congressional control shows that deep political division in this country. So we have to really think about it. Is it what the direction that we want to move as a nation? We have a lot of people facing fentanyl crisis here. We are also facing a homelessness crisis. We are also facing a big substance abuse. And why? If we keep on continuing this, it will become we will become a third world country, and all those third world countries will become a first world country, and they will laugh at us. We need to take rapid decisions that are really important for the present generation, also the future. You don't want to have an addictive society that's not going to move in any further direction, any good direction. And we also need to deregulate a lot of things. We need regulations, but not over-regulation. Over-regulation kills the process, and that's what is happening in California, for example. And Trump, on the other hand, is also facing a big, a big flaw. Approval rating, failing in approval rating, where for the first time he has fallen under 41%, in down from 4 to 6 points since 2000 last March. This approval rating is now around 57%. Trump is down 57% because you all know, handling of the economy, handling of the the war, handling of Americans saying the economies have gone worsen, and making also the fuel price go up. We also saw independent voter support below 35%, a key risk before midterms, because those independents who decide that who's going to be controlling the House and the Senate, which is going to be really crazy important for us to look at it. And then this also comes with the pressure of inflation plus the fuel prices are going up. And we also saw reports coming up from United Airlines that they are more likely to increase the the price of the tickets in the summer. So it will go up by 20 to 30%. So imagine if you have to pay more extra money for a stupid war that we never wanted to start, we never should have started at the very first place. And as crazy as it's just I don't know what to say. And that also comes down to see that where was those America first, what we're going to do, we're going to change a lot of things, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I don't know. None of those things are happening now. It's all about war. It's all about making money, and the people who voted for them and never getting a single dime. And they say a big check return is going to come. I hope it's for all the people, not just the rich people. With that, let's go into the big ceasefire. US and Iran ceasefire extension has happened. President Trump, in Tuesday when it ended, he said we're going to extend the ceasefire for another 7 to 10 days while maintaining the blockade. Over 30 countries are involved in the naval coordination in the region. Despite the incident, ship seizure and warning attacks continues. In oil market remains volatile, with the price staying above $100 an oil. So the price of an oil right now, price of an oil. Let's see, right now the price of the oil is at $105, which is crazy. And it went to $83 and it came back to $105. It was at 80 a month ago. We went down. So we were at $90, 95, and then we came back up since there was no. And if this continues, it's going to be crazy. Like, I don't know. It's going to be very volatile, and that's going to increase a lot of risk. And we might end up in a global recession. I don't know. This is what is going to happen. And this US blockade disrupt global trade, where the US naval blockade is affecting thousands of vessels, 2,000 indirectly impacted, around 15 to 20 global oil shipment passes through this route. For freights cost increased by 25 to 40% on a global key routes. And we also saw a delay in 3 to 7 days are now common for the shipments to passing through Gulf, because now they are taking the longer route, I think going through the Cape Town or going through the Suez Canal, which is going to be you have to wait till that goes off. It's a big traffic on that pathway. So with that getting shifted, impacted, we will see a big economic crisis. We will also see a big disruption in the global market. If you really look at it, if, for example, all the prices, the fertilizers prices are going to go up, which have already gone up because oil is needed for fertilizers. Fertilizers needed in oil to make fertilizers, you need some part of the oil, crude oil. And then we will have plastic. The prices of plastics is going to go up, and I think somewhere I read that the price of a condom is going to go up in because of the plastic prices going up. I mean, the price of the oil, which they also need to make some plastic, which they need plastic to make it. So the price of a condom is also going to go up, which might be a sad news for a lot of summer vacation people. But in terms of a lot of other goods that are going to go up, we don't know. A lot of supply chain is going to be impacted. People are just thinking, oh, the war is good. A lot of people now are disagreeing that this war shouldn't be happening at the very first place. Now we can also see that now the global shipment crisis is going to intensify. We are around 1,800 to 2,000 ships are going to be delayed on this route near the Strait of Hormuz. Roughly 20,000 to 25,000 of seafarers are affected. So we're also going to see a shipping insurance go up, which we already saw. The cost have risen between 200 to 300%. It's not cheap to imagine the price, everything goes up, and this London insurers who insures the oil ship, they don't want to even insure the oil ship. So imagine what that's going to entitle, right? Yeah, it's going to be entitled. I don't know. It's going to be the impact of those things that is happening. Plus, the global shipping time is going to increase by 15%. Like, imagine if you get something on 7 days, we will now get those things in 10 days. That 3 days is going to cost a lot of things, a lot of lives you don't know. And then we are also going to see a big impact in Asia and Europe. Europe is going to be really impacted by this. Of course, the Asian market as well. Trading is slowing down and becoming more and more expensive worldwide. So the trading is also slowing down. I mean, trade has been stagnant in a lot of countries. All the economies, I don't know what they wanted to do. I don't know. I mean, Iran, you all have to understand that Iran was not, we don't have anyone in Iran that could lead in Iran, because we already messed up the whole leadership hierarchy. And I think there is a division within Iran because they don't want to increase their they have division. I think the the president might be more in line with the ayatollahs, and we can see prime minister, the speaker of the house, the parliament speaker, and the foreign minister Agachi might be together. They might be like, okay, let's open up something, let's have some discussion, because they have already been impacted by the economic sanctions that America has put on them way before the war started, and there's been a big economic crisis That's already been happening in Iran. So now we have to give them some time, and it's always kudos to Pakistan for leading this. The Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has done a great job, and he hopefully will bring these two parties together, because I think they are a key player in this situation, because you have to understand Pakistan has nukes and they can do whatever they want. So both the countries will agree, I think, at some point. Okay, they are the big boys here, and also China needs to get involved. I mean, they are already involved, because look at the if the global ship freight cost is going to cost 40% extra. Imagine how much is going to cost Chinese economy. Chinese economy is more reliant on import export, so their export market is going to be disrupted. When those export market disrupt, the economy in China will collapse. So they don't want this to happen. They will be hugely impacted, especially having an export market, not an import market. So now they will also play a big role. They are already playing a big role in terms of bringing all these key people together to figure out what they can do, because US, this blockade has just 2,000 ships have been already indirectly impacted. Imagine that. And then around the supply of, like, if the trade deal, if the trade pauses for 1 to 2 days, it's going to be a huge impact for any economy. You can be the greatest economy in the world, but that disruption is like, it's like a puzzle of equilibrium moving around, and you suddenly stop it and it just goes blank, and it's going to be really hard. Especially a lot of countries are relying on China. Even America is relying on China. A lot of stuff are imported from China. The clothes, everything we wear, everything is made in China. So that's going to cost us in our home, where we're going to pay more money, maybe 40% more for what we paid yesterday or last month. I don't know. I hope this all comes to an end. It has gone out of control. The price of barrel is still at $100. If it goes and goes continues, as I said, the IMF is really predicting that this could go the wrong direction, and we will end up in a global recession. You don't want to end up in a global recession, because right now the whole world recovered since COVID. That's a big recovery, and now you want to see again the countries, the world go through another stupid recession that will lead into depression, which is going to be really, really impactful and sad in both the cases we talk about it. So yeah, it's going to be really, really sad, and I have nothing to add to this whole thing. And then we also IMF has reported that the global growth forecast, it cut down to 3.1%. So we were from 3.4%, now we are down to 3.1%. They are also predicting, if this war continues and if the prices are still high, the worsened economic scenario would be the growth could fall under 2% or 2.5%, sorry, and close to a recession level globally. And that's going to be at the tipping point. I always say, if that shit happens, we are done. And advanced economies are going on, 3 minus 1.7% growth. Between the advanced economies are having only 1.5 to 1.7% growth, while developing countries' economy dropped to 3.8 to 4%. That's a bad sign for developing countries that have been impacted. Energy import nations are facing 20 to 30% higher fuel cost. Imagine they were not even involved in this whole war, and now everything is going. Especially the Asia market, the Asian and African market are really going to be impacted by this war, because they rely more on cheap oil from Iran. So now this war is also going to trigger this energy shock across the whole entire global economy. And that's the scary part. And you don't want to end up in a big, I don't know, a big crazy a war situation. We have two countries where we are fighting to each other, and countries go crazy, and if the world leaders cannot control their own country, which will be very, 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 very crazy, right? If you look at it in depth. So yeah, the countries, the least developed countries, the developing countries are the countries that are going to be really impacted. And I hope Pakistan plays a huge role in finding the solution in this war. And then along with that, IMF is also now planning to have $115 billion aid package that will be supporting from 2024, 2026 to 2027, this will be between 70 billion will be World Bank will be lending capacity. These bastards are going to make a lot of money in interest. And then $80 billion will be via IMF program and emergency funding. About 60 to 70% of developing countries are expected to receive the support. Lower income countries faces a debt levels above 60% of their GDP, making them highly vulnerable, as it's the larger as aid is larger but may not be enough without political stability and lower energy price. So the key thing you have to understand is that, so that's the global fear they all have, and least developed countries, developing countries will get this funding from IMF, and they get into this debt trap with IMF. And that's, I have seen this all over again when I used to live in Sri Lanka. Oh, these two companies, two entities are really crazy, and they just want to hold you by the loans and everything and put your country into a lot of worse situation. But hopefully at least they get some money up, and these countries will lift the people from poverty. That's all we need. And let's pray that everything happens. The last topic that I want to talk is a disgusting image that we saw with IDF soldier destroying Jesus' statue in southern Lebanon. It was horrible. It's horrific. He should be removed, and he has to be. It's so disgrace for the Christian coming and Jesus. We all follow Prophet Jesus, and it's just really, really sad to see that. It also shows how evil they are. It also shows that how they are against Christianity, and it also gives me a question that are they doing it purposely, or are they also being, like, as much as they have been fed hatred about Muslims, they might have also been fed hatred about Christianity. And I'm pretty sure, and the whole world doesn't want to accept it. In America, it's a Christian nation, and we are a Christian nation, and we still tolerate all those things, and we don't see anything it's fine with it. I see a lot of people, like it's just one person, or nothing is going to happen. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's just, people need to really understand this. And if we don't take actions, and if that's what I said, IDF and Israel, they can fund themselves. We don't have to give any foreign aid for anyone. If Israel has a $45 billion defense budget, they can well defend themselves. They have the money. We don't need to send them the money. Listen, Israel has free healthcare for everyone. America doesn't have free healthcare for everyone. So that's what we need to fix. That's what we need to fix in this country, rather than giving away all the money to other countries, which we don't have to. And I don't know, I might be wrong in saying this, but I really feel that America needs that money. Americans need those money more than anyone else, and all these countries can defend themselves by themselves. We don't need to give them money. And if some country has a $45 billion defense budget, why do we have to give a single penny? Like, they can just buy themselves. They're the strongest economy in the Middle East. They can do a lot of business with other countries. They can make a lot of money. Why do we have to give them free handouts? We don't have free healthcare in America. So let's get that digest, and then think about what we can really do. So with that, I was so disappointed at this whole statue, and I heard he has to be punished. And as this atrocities continues in southern Lebanon, Israel needs to withdraw from the southern Lebanon. They're stupid, and they think they can own every land that they can take. They have to be happy with what they was given in 1948. 77 years of promise we have given to the Israel. I think United States needs to stop all the funding for Israel and for the other countries, because Israel has a $45 billion budget of defense. I mean, they can fund themselves. Why do we have to give them money, and so that they can pay their people health care? No, that's not going to happen. So anyways, thank you so much for y'all to join here, and we will look forward to talking about a lot of things. We had the NFL drafts happening this week, so we'll talk about it next week. And with that, thanks again for joining Every Degree Matters. I'm your host, Saffran Maynard.
And you wanna sell it out with the words out